Hello, Core 3 Beauties. This is Marcos, and this is our week 6 going to week 7 recap briefing video for our Core 3 topics class at Parsons. We've got lots going on as we are now fully committed to our digital forms project, and we are in the middle of our design development and had a great week of reviews last week and lots of good progress from everybody. And now it's a matter of buckling down and working on furthering your design development and furthering your coding or Figma prototyping to complete the project. We have a full week of working on it coming up, and then another partial week before the October 17th Thursday class where it'll be due. But let's take a look at what we have going for week 7 for our workflow. We're going to continue on our digital forms project. Again, due on the 17th on Thursday. And what we're going to do coming this week, we're going to slightly shift based on our conversation last class. We're going to have our full class meet on Tuesday. And what we're going to do is similar to what we were going to do with having small groups, but instead we're going to do a full class of working in class, a session working collaboratively or independently, or a little bit of both, and having you share with your students, your fellow students, sorry, and having you get feedback and also talk about your strategies and what you're doing. And all those of you who have similar types of projects or are doing similar approaches in how you're coding or how you're utilizing outside sources like Arena, get together and talk about what you're doing so you can share in the way you're implementing your technology. So let's make that a really good class in terms of like getting lots done and utilizing our time and not having the pressure to present anything, just working together. And of course, I'll be there to also give feedback and to share with. So it'll be a good, productive class. On Thursday, we're gonna do a briefing and start our final project. So we're gonna begin to move in the final project in replacement of moving the kickoff to the final project in replacement to what should have been the final review of our digital forms project, but we're moving that back so that we can begin early. So we'll get briefed on that and we'll begin. You'll be given us a small assignment for that. And then also we need to continue our video watching as well. So here's a quick view of what our weeks coming up are going to look like with a little further in depth from where we were last time. We're gonna, as you can see, we talked about having what next week 7 will be. On week 8, we're gonna have on the 15th, we're gonna have midterm reviews. And what that's gonna mean is that we're gonna have a class that's just gonna be a set of virtual appointments throughout the class time, where I'll meet with each of you for like 8 minutes or so to review where you're gonna be or how you're doing in the class, and also to talk about your first small project on selecting a cause for you to work on for your independent project. But in that review, you'll get feedback so that you can then begin your research presentations, which you see on week 9, where all of you will present further information regarding your cause, and then beginning to conceptualize a brand that will be advocating for whatever issue or cause you're working towards finding a solution for. So the first 2 weeks of the project on week 9 and 10 will be devoted into creating that brand, creating a brand strategy, creating a name, logo concepts, and I think there's one more week after this where you'll finalize that before working on your touch point assets to show the brand in like a vision of what that brand would be, and then to create both a physical forms and digital forms type project that are the main workhorse assets for that brand that showcase how your brand would go into action using design within those two mediums. So the work that we did for these first two projects will be the inspiration or the model, the framework for how you will create a second set of those types of projects, but around this brand that you build. So more on that when we talk about it on Thursday. But what you'll be doing is you're working towards part three, which isn't due next week. It's due the week after. So this next coming week is all about working and developing and getting your project to be as finished and complete as possible, so that on week after next, you're ready to finalize that and present it on Thursday. Um, Thursday the 17th, that is. So make sure you're working towards that. Make sure that you're spending the time this coming week to get as far along as possible, like three quarters, 80% of the way done, so that by week after next, you're just finishing that up while also working on your independent project. So that's something to keep in mind. You're going to be layering two projects at once. So please keep the pace strong. And remember, you're creating a presentation for this, just like you did for your physical forms project, and just like you will be doing for your independent project. And the reason for this, and I think Kelly touched on this in the kickoff meeting to this class, is that creating presentations and delivering presentations is a big part of not just this class, but not even just part of your design experience, but part of what your design career is going to rely on for you to be as proficient, as inspiring, as excellent as possible in how you tell the story about what you're trying to communicate or what you've created, in the form of both a presentation that showcases that in a logical, thoughtful, easy to understand, easy to inspire kind of way, but also in the way that you're able to speak about it in a concise way, but also in a detailed way, and that your storytelling, the storytelling of your project, the storytelling of your process, how you create a vision for what the solution you're proposing, and how you get the person that you're talking to, communicating to, inspired, how you get them to understand, how you get them to be on board, to be in sync with your way of thinking, so that they agree with what you want to do, and they give you the money to do it. So that's what we're going to focus on with the finals on this as well. And with it being a digital project, it's going to be about making sure that not only that you code and or prototype in Figma your pieces or your piece, but also that you're able to create the kind of mock-up movies that self-play and that show how the experience works by having it click and move and slide in a way that like dazzles and makes you want to understand and learn more. And making great little playthrough movies will be a big part of this. So make sure you're thinking in that way. Make sure you're thinking in a motion graphics way as well, that everyone's being very thoughtful about the structure and the architecture of your storyboards, your wireframe kind of thinking, but then also make sure you take the time now to refine and implement and bring a elegant kind of movement and experience with what you're doing. And also the idea that there is a motion graphics component that then can be translated into a dynamic poster format that will be a simplified form of your bigger digital project asset, your website or your app, and can be that sort of two parts that we looked at in the beginning, where we talked about it being an option, but I think we can now consider that being like you're doing both simply by smartly creating an effect in your main piece that can then be translated into a digital, um, a dynamic poster. Okay. So this is the list of what you should be having for that. And of course, at the very end, don't forget thank you page. And you guys have been doing really great with thank you pages. They're always a new cool one popping up, and always inspiring to see those. So remember the importance of gratitude and expressing it at all times whenever it's possible. The canvas is the same It's the same assignment. You just scroll down to part three, and it just gives you a kind of same list we just looked at with a Google Drive link now embedded in there so that you can take it to this design finalization. Oh, I forgot to put part three. I'll change the name to say part three, design finalization, and have that ready for October 17th. Again, nothing's due next week except that you should be making progress and working on your piece as much as possible, and getting feedback on that. Um, and then just this slide should have been earlier, but basically this is an overview of the rest of the semester after this week, or the independent project timeline, starting on week 8 with selecting a cause, and then research strategy and naming on week 9, logo design and touch points. So the first 3 weeks are kind of dedicated to creating your brand, and the last 5 weeks are in creating, implementing, and doing your final presentation of your two key assets, your physical and digital asset, your print and digital asset, for the brand you created. And I'll be showing examples of this when we do our kickoff. In fact, part of the review, part of the deliverables for the final reviews assignment on week 15 was to create kind of what I'm doing here, like a presentation movie, like a Zoom movie of the presentation, and all students have done that in last class. So I can literally share some of those so you can see what a final presentation looks like and what students did to fulfill the call to create this project, with the components that were asked for, and that will give you a good look at what it is that you're doing and inspire you and inform you towards making that kind of project. But of course, like the Olympics, you're going to jump a little higher than last year and make it even better by just a little bit. And oh, shoot, that's right. Those pesky videos are still coming, and we haven't talked about them in a couple of weeks. My apologies, but keep watching. And in fact, in our when we have week after next, when we have our midterm reviews, one of the questions you're going to get in your midterms is, have you watched all videos to date? And you just need to be able to honestly say yes or honestly say no. So I want you to be prepared for that question with an honest yes, and not be faced with that the look on your face like we're seeing here, and our friend at the bottom who hasn't watched all of them yet and is a little bit behind, but there's time to catch up. So catch up on your videos, and this week's video is experimental design practices. So check that one out for sure. Mine's coming up pretty soon, so be ready for that one. And that is where we're at. So be ready to come to class with lots of good progress on Tuesday, and be working. Work out. Don't be feel fooled by my environment here up in my mountain house in the Poconos. I'm working too. And we're having a family reunion as well, but I'm getting work done. So you should need to find a way to balance your free time, your rest time, your fun time, but the biggest part of the pyramid should be the work time. So make sure you're working on this, you're working on all your projects for school. This is the time in your life where you're putting a lot of energy into your work. And I don't got to preach to you guys, you already do this, but just know that that's what youth is about, is having that energy to be able to put out lots of work, to be able to focus on lots of tasks at once. And as you saw with our schedule and our next project, it's going to get more intense, and there's going to be a need for you to be working on several things at once. So we've done a lot of good, we'll call them warm-ups with these first two projects. And now the main race, the main event is going to come up with our final independent project. So keep focused, keep discipline, stay healthy, stay hydrated, eat well, party and moderately, and work maximally. All right, so back to work, everybody, and I will see you all on Tuesday, and have a great rest of the weekend or great rest of the week.